Hello, my name's Miriam Divine. I am a trans witch who works with HECATE quite a bit. I've been working with her for the last 6 years and 5 years of quite a bit of devotion to her. I do not devote myself to any other gods or goddesses, and so I'm solely devoted with HECATE. I have worked with other gods and goddesses, but not as a devotee. Um, this video is about connecting with HECATE. How do we connect with HECATE? And there are several ways to connect with HECATE, and we're just going to go over a few here. And I'm probably going to ramble a little bit because I don't have it in a note form. I don't have it all written out. I'm just pulling it out of where it comes from as HECATE talks to me and how I feel it coming out to you. So if it's rambling, just watch, listen. Some of the things I'm sure you already know, and some of them you don't. So we'll just go from here. But anyway, she has 3 domains. And these domains, of course, are the underworld, the middle world, and the heavens. Actually, she has a 4th domain called the liminal spaces in between. And in between those 3 realms, there's another realm tucked away in the vastness of everything. It's all I can say. It's like sidestepping between 2 mirrors is where it sits. But we're going to talk about how to connect with HECATE. And so a lot of us, when we first find HECATE, we connect via study. A lot of research. And, books, online, watch videos. There's wonderful people out there who talk about working with HECATE, how to find her, all these things. Well, that's one way to connect with her, through study and research. And those are the basics of how to connect with her. It just gives you a foundation of who she is, because you can't connect without that, because she's a very personal goddess. She works with you directly. She understands you, and she expects you to understand her. So study is very important. And like myself, I studied for 2 years straight. As soon as I had read every book I could put my hands on. And then another way during your study, the first day is study everything. The next study is study a focus. And that's what she came to me with. She said, or I got the feeling, it's not really she, in this instance, she actually came forth and said something to me. She gave me this devote and focus to one path. And she told me through Keeping Her Keys by Cindy Brannon. And I followed that path for the 13 cycles all year, put every other book aside, and focused on that completely 100%. And you know how hard it is to move that slow when you want to run. She said, don't run. Focus in on a practice. And I did that. And I look at that as a red initiation, right? Where you're focused on the guide on how to help people in this world. Not necessarily how to help people in the underworld or anything like that. And through your study and through your focus and devotion, that's one way to connect with her. Another way is during this time. In fact, you'll find that it's not just one connection. You'll find many connections. The other way is through signs. You'll see angel numbers. You'll start hearing dogs. You'll start understanding connection. And you'll just know, hey, that was for me. Or, nah, that was a nothing. It doesn't mean anything to me. But you'll start seeing things. You'll start finding keys. Like today I walked around and I found 2 keys laying in the middle of the street in completely separate locations. It's not like they were the same. Someone dropped both of them. It was weird. Was that a connection? Yes, it actually came through when I was doing a musical connection with her via, Eric Clapton's, Tears of Heaven song. Is that the actual name of that? I believe it is. But it's by Eric Clapton. If you want to find it, it's talking about, will you know my name in heaven? And that's a very spiritual connection song with me and HECATE, and I made it that connection. Over time, that is one of my calling cards to the spiritual realm, and it's actually not just for HECATE, but mostly for her. Okay, and so you'll see these signs. Dogs will come up to you, you'll find different things. And this is another way to connect with her. It's like her just sending little messages to you. It's like this is a connection. It's a message. Here I am. Come look. Come see. Here it is. Pay attention to this. And most people, they don't pay attention to this and they don't understand that connection. And that's another way we can connect with HECATE. I do a lot if with cards, right? This is a deck focused completely for HECATE. I don't use this deck for any other god or goddess or any other readings other than when I'm working with HECATE. It is a light seers, and as you can look on my altar in the pictures there, if you want to zoom in or whatever, I might zoom in the camera later. But the 3 cards up there are the ones I pulled for the month of May that show the aspects she told me about this month for me via the cards. And the cards, like scrying a mirror or an obsidian stone, are just tools. It's the same as doing a sweat lodge. It's just a tool for connection. And that is what we're talking about, is our tools for connection. And the cards are like you calling and asking a question. HECATE, tell me something. Tell me what you want me to know. And I pre-shuffle everything, cleanse them, and don't even ask. And look, this, like, I know which card it is. She likes 3 cards. That's not it. This one is. And now sometimes I pull a card just for her because she loves that, right? In fact, I pull a card just for her and a card for me. And these cards tell me what message she wants to give me at this time. You know, her card, interesting. Messages. She's saying when pigs fly, but no, she's saying these messages that you're saying from your heart, I'm not understanding them. Maybe I'm wrong. So let's talk a little bit more about the cards, right? Right here, she gave me a message. It's very obvious. I mean, look, the messages are being stolen. Somebody listening to these, you know, balance is what she's saying. She's saying a thief, the bird is squawking, sneak away with the messages, understand the messages. She's saying don't be in hermit mode with your messages. That's what she's telling me, right? Hermit mode, you know, hiding, don't hide, don't go in on yourself, share the message, right? Though yet she's saying, look, this message is not for me. This is for, I guess it's for you all, not for her, which I understand. This is your message. She said this is your message, right? Not her message. And she's talking about a balance. And yes, there's a balance, right? HECATE is darkness. A lot of internet YouTubers get this scary, oh, HECATE of the darkness. But there's HECATE of the light. There's also HECATE of the guide in the middle world. The balance needs all of them. HECATE is all of them, right? And if you look at my altar space up there, down in the lower left-hand side, that is my dark space for HECATE. It's a little bit darker. I know I have a lot of lights on right now, but that space is her dark aspects. And when I work with her in that area, I a lot of times just light that candle. I don't light all 3. I have all 3 lit. I didn't light the 4th one in her liminal space because we're not really going there this time. And as you can see, I made a space for her directly, so I have a constant opening. It's like a phone call, right? It's like having your phone on, right? You leave it in power mode or whatever. That is what your altar is. It's another connection to HECATE, and mine is just basically a phone line. It's a tool. And I have the 3 aspects. The lower, of course, is the one I'm talking about, is her underworld aspects or dark aspects, and we'll go into that a little bit deeper. And then the guide aspects is the middle world one, which is more focused in with this life and how to have an abundant life and have a good life and work with your shadows and everything here that is in existence in this life and working with you. And that one's usually her guide mode. The lower one is her protection mode, where she'll protect you with mercy. And then we get up into her upper realm, and that's generally where her, the heavens are spoken about, where weird knowledges, infinite knowledges that come from beyond. You'll get knowledge from all the areas, but that one has spiritual, interesting keys of knowledge, are light areas. And that is more severity than knowledge. It comes harsher. It's kind of scary, you think that's where the angels are. And she does use angels. She does talk to angels. She has a horde. And a lot of times they talk about her horde of, Lamia and Gorgons and monstrous and the undead in the underworld. They don't talk about it, but she has a horde of angels and light beings that follow her around just as much as the dark beings. And we are her horde in the real world. Her followers, her devotees, we are her horde here, and she teaches us about all the aspects. And sometimes she says, some of you and some of us just focusing on the dark aspects, and some of us focusing on the light aspects. Some of us focusing on just the middle world aspects. I have a lot of friends who are, very focused on just this world and doing things like, a hex and a curse is a middle world thing. It's not an underworld thing. To hex and curse someone's soul is a lot more difficult and a lot heavier of work, and you have to go in beyond just the middle world that we're in now. And so it evaporates when we get to the soul levels. And of course, the liminal aspect is completely different. And that is the vast emptiness, which, like I said, that's another aspect you can work with her in the lost spaces of the universe. Excuse me. So, cards, of course, like I said, we can connect with HECATE via our cards. And I'll probably have to paste this video here, but we're going to connect with HECATE via our cards. We can connect with HECATE in other ways besides just cards. Like I talked about mirror scrying. If any of you have done scrying via mirror or obsidian stones, that's a good one. You can. And you can also connect with HECATE via, which a lot of people don't know this one, is via meditative journey. It's very much similar to a spirit journey where you get yourself in a frame of mind and then go into the spirit world. Sometimes people use drugs to get there. Sometimes people use pain. I remember the old ancient Indians used to strap rawhide to their back and dance around maypoles. You don't need to do all of that. You can do this via just straight up meditation and getting yourself into the journey mode. And there's very specific, easy way to do this. And of course, I'm not going to go into this video because it take it's too long for this video. But you can connect via meditative journey, and I've done a lot of that work actually, where this one is different. What it does, if you ever read about Muhammad and Jesus and Moses, when they had angel connections, when any saint you read about goes in and actually talks with the angels in almost like a meditative journey concept, where they go into the desert and then have a mystical, magical experience. This is their journey. And what happens is in that meditative journey through the lens of your own mind is the messages that come through, but they are gifted to you with what you can understand and see. So that is the meditative journey. Now, if you read about Moses and the burning bush, this is the other aspect, is actually, they call it evoking. Invoking? I think it's invoking. Okay, they invoke, which is bring the actual essence of the goddess into a middle world real space. So this is different. Where this is the one where you'll get a lot of chanting. I do a lot of Hail Hecates. There's a special thing done by Jason Miller, who has a wonderful class. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Just look him up. He's got a great class for doing a lot of this meditative journey, kind of half call her into your space type of spell work. I really loved his class. You should do that if you have the inkling. That's enough of my plug for him. But anyway, you can have different mantras and chants. I do, like, on the new moon every month for the last 5 years, I have done a new moon Dipnon, depending on how you pronounce it. It's Greek. If there are any Greeks out there, you can pronounce it for me. But it's the supper for the new moon. And I devote it to Hecate and leave her little offerings and go through an hour-long ritual of calling her into the space and working with her and then giving her an offering that she then, of course, takes to the liminal and offers it up to her horde and takes whatever she needs out of it. And generally, she actually works with me to give it to others, not because she didn't need it, but she loves to give it away to those that need it. So, and that goes, of course, into, her other aspects. She takes those things. And so that's another way of connecting. You bring her into your space, the invoking into your space. And to give you a feel for what this feels like, because most people are like, well, what's that? You would talk about when there's a spirit presence, you'll hear a ringing sometimes. That's usually more for angels, demons, maybe a low hum possibly in your audible zone somewhere. It's there if you really pay attention. You might see a shadow, which I have, usually that's mine, as I see the shadows. And so you need more of a darker space with, you talk about people that you have to do it by candlelight and all that stuff. Well, you can't be in complete darkness because then you don't see the shadow. It looks different. Finding complete darkness is almost impossible unless you go into an actual cavern where they turn off the lights for you. But you can actually feel the spaces. You can feel them either as a physical presence where you feel something or as an emotional presence where they'll actually heighten or change the emotional in your body. As a physical presence, you can break it down into your chakras in your system where you can feel it in your heart or your third eye or in all spaces simultaneously. You will feel them in your space and they will send you messages. And sometimes it will be a dog in the distance barking or a sign like that. And sometimes it will just be random something that you're in a state of mind where it just comes into your mind. And so this is also a connection where she'll send you this, or she'll send you a feeling. She'll send you, if you do divination, she'll send you cards. So another way is evoking Hecate, which is the difference between invoking is you bring her into her space. Evoking is you bring her into yourself. And I've only honestly done this 3 times maybe in my 6 years of working with Hecate. And always it is a profound experience. Always it is a little bit difficult because you lose control. She takes the aspect over and will flood you with emotions, flood you with physical actions. I remember I got debilitated and couldn't get up off the floor. She took me over and forced me down, or I just lost control or something, depending on how you look at it. And she was there. Now, this can, of course, be done with other spirits and other aspects, which I have done this as well with other spirits and things, but it's nothing like it is with Hecate. So you have invoking, evoking, some signs, meditative journeys. Okay, the next one is dreams and dream work. And this one is messages that come to you in a dream. And if you do a lot of work in dream work, you do a lot of lucid dreaming where you are in complete control of your dreams. For messages from spirits and Hecate, you're going to have to release some of your control. You want to more just witness what is coming and no control over it other than maybe just a casual thought or push. And the easiest way I found for this is before you go to bed, say a little prayer to Hecate. I personally like to put a little sachet of mugwort under my pillow for increased dream sensitivity or vision or whatever you want to call it. And somewhere in the night, when the messages come, they come and you almost wake up because of the emotion or whatever happened, and there they are. They're stuck there, and they're just in your mind. These are your messages. Write them down. Try to, interpret them or whatever. However you feel, your intuition will tell you more than I ever could, or anybody could ever tell you about your dreams, a book, none of that. Your intuition tells you more than anything.
Very similar to a meditative journey where it comes from within inside you. It is focused through the lens of you. Now, for dream work, do not use your mobile device, computers, phones, whatever you want to call them. Don't use those like a half hour, an hour before bed. And before you go to sleep, like I said, say a little prayer, but ask, hey, Hecate, send me messages while I'm sleeping tonight. Something as simple as that, or you can sit there and just, focus in on receiving messages. It's best to fall asleep to that, because as soon as you start having other random thoughts and stuff running through your head, like, oh, what did I eat for dinner, or did so and so he really like me when he looked at me, that kind of stuff, that affects your mind's receptivity, maybe not the messages, but the receptivity of your mind, as it will refocus the messages that are coming in as you sleep. And so that is dream work.
Let's see another one that you can connect with Hecate. Um, the world soul. So this is a different concept. Hecate herself has become part of the world soul, or she always was. She just remembered she was part of the world soul, which means we are the dreams of the earth, which means we are all part of the world soul, and you just have to remember that you are part of the world soul. And there's certain aspects of meditative work that you can go to connect with Mother Earth itself, or herself, depending if you wish to put a gender on the earth. She doesn't, but a lot of times, because in the spiritual realm they like to give feminine to the things that love to receive and have the creative aspect, and they give the masculine into the focus and the strength and all that kind of stuff. That's just humanity trying to put words into something they can't describe. And so if you do use those, they have nothing to do with your gender, they have nothing to do with having sex and all that crap. It just is what it is. It's just a terminology. Just like when they use, for your chakras, they use earth and water and fire and metal and wood and wind and, void, all these different, they're just people putting in some way to understand something that's ununderstandable, that they don't have a concept. Like, in all honesty, red. I find, my board is red, that we just put a name on it for a concept we just had, we wanted to describe. Is this really red? Is that what its original form was? Its original color was? That was a name? No, mankind gave it that name. Hecate was before the naming. She was a primordial goddess. And so the world soul doesn't care if we call this red. She cares that it is just what it is. Right? And so in this concept of world soul, and there's, exercise, I like the greeting to the sun exercise that I've worked on, and I've kind of half hybrided, took it from somebody else and worked on it, made it bigger and badder to connect that way with the world soul with Hecate. And that honestly kind of steps a little bit past Hecate, because you'll feel the others as well. It's not just Hecate. You'll feel the aspects of Artemis, and you'll feel Diana, and you'll feel Rhea, and you'll feel Gaia, you'll feel Zeus, and you'll feel the Titans, Eros, and you'll feel all of them in that world soul, because almost all of them have a connection in with it. But you can work with just different aspects, and Hecate has so many aspects. She's easier to connect with because she is mostly there, and it's a different feeling. Let's see, is there any other ways to connect with Hecate versus spaces? I mean, you could certainly do little devotional rites and stuff, but that's like a one-way call. It's like sending a meme out to Facebook. It's a one-way. Oh, look, Hecate, here it is. Look at this. I made this for you. I did this for you. And she'll give you a like if she likes it. She'll not give you a like if she doesn't like it. It didn't count, right? And you'll know. You'll see a sign. You'll see it in a meditative journey. You'll get more information on it. You'll get a call back. You'll just get a wonderful feeling of, oh, this was great and love in my heart. That's how you'll know that she appreciated your sign. And that's what a lot of that is. Now, spell work, this is a different way of connecting with Hecate. And I honestly don't do a very lot of this at all. And this is you either invoke or evoke, and most people invoke because they're scared of evoking. They invoke Hecate or another deity, but in this case Hecate because she's the goddess of spellcraft and witchcraft. And they ask her to come in and aid their spell work or their magic with her energy, which you can do. If you want to do a cord cutting, you can call Hecate in to aid in the cutting of the cord. And one of her aspects, yes, she can aid in that cutting of relationships and cord cutting. I believe in some of the visualizations with working with Hecate, you're carrying around an umbilical cord, a bloody umbilical cord. And there's times when it's, the knife is very visualization, the knife that binds the four realms, right? That cuts the time and cuts cords and things. These are very symbolic things. And so as a witch or a magician or whatever you want to call yourself, you can use her presence, one of her aspects, in your spellcraft. And this is also another way of connecting with Hecate. And most people, this is how they do it. Most spellcraft is focused solely in on the middle world. Working in the other worlds is very different. And in fact, she taught me a lot when I started working in the underworld. Was actually probably one of the bigger areas I learned. And she will connect with you in that area as well. And it's different. That's all I can tell you. It's almost undescribable. I am slowly but surely writing a book on my experiences in connecting with Hecate in the underworld and the liminal. And I hope someday to put the book together of connecting with her in the heavens as well. In the middle world, there's a lot of information, and so I don't know if I'll ever make a video for that, but I might. Or a video, or not just a video, I mean a book, actually. I like writing far more than I like making videos. I do these videos because, I don't know, I think she told me I had to communicate, start telling people and talking to people about things. I know this is kind of droning on, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So, is there any other ways I can connect with Hecate, or Hecate connects with me? She has sent me just random bits of information and downloads where I think the longest one was 3 months. She sent me downloads daily for 6 hours a day, 3 months straight, no sleep, just writing and seeing things and doing things. This was mostly through meditative journey, but a lot of it was not. A lot of it was through straight invoking, a little bit of evoking at that time as well. It just was it was. And like I talked about Miller's class before, his class is also a connection with Hecate. I think his first class was like 7 months or 9 months. I don't remember. But it was definitely worthwhile. And that was a connection twice a week, maybe, with constant keeping the phone line or the connection open so that you don't lose connection. So you build things with her. Now, I like to look at it this way. And somebody asked me, so how come I'm not getting, every other time I try to talk to Hecate, how come I'm not getting information back? Well, let's assume Hecate has 10 million followers or 10 million people who know about her on the planet, right? Then maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. We don't know. I honestly don't know that number. But let's assume, let's just put in a number, she has 10 million. Well, out of those 10 million, 50% of them, 5 million, are just kind of haphazardly there. They don't do a monthly anything with her. They don't light a candle for her. They just come to her and say, oh, Hecate, please take care of me. My foot hurts, or my child's in the hospital. And it's like a once a year thing. It's, it doesn't work for the God of Abraham either. You do a once a year prayer to the God of Abraham, he ain't gonna listen either. And Hecate doesn't have time. She's got 10 million followers, 10 million people who are talking to her. And so you put in your time. And I'm not saying you have to put in a massive, 10-hour write every single day to work with Hecate. Can you do that? I'm sure somebody out there can. I do not, but I'm sure you can. But if you do just a little thing daily, you think of her daily, say a little prayer to her. Not even trying to call her and just say, hey, Hecate, I love you today. Or thank you for something that you gave me yesterday. I personally have lit an altar candle, at least one, every single day for the last 5 years in honor of Hecate. Now, I've lit a few for other gods and goddesses too, but Hecate gets hers every single day. And I've said a little mini prayer every single day for Hecate for over 5 years. And the first year, of course, I was in the study mode. I didn't get it. I wasn't, And somewhere in there, you get past being that 50%. Somewhere you get into the 75%. Somewhere, I'm sure there's devotees that are up there in the top 1% in Hecate's field, and she comes to them every day. She hangs out with them every second, every day. I unfortunately work a real job and have to devote some time to my family. And so I'm not a nun or a monk or whatever the devotee of Hecate you wish to call us is. I'm not at that status. And so I might be at 70%, 80%. I don't know. Hecate, here, wait. I'll tell you. Hecate will tell me in a second. Do I have something here? Where's Hecate? Tell me. Hecate, I just rolled my dice, says I am at the... Oh. Huh. Isn't that interesting? At least 70% Aries. Whatever the heck Aries, why he's coming in. But at least 70%. I'm in the 70% zone. Which I'll believe that. In the 70% zone. From my... Boy, I got a cord. I'm rolling over the top of the cord here. So, that's about where I'm at. Am I, do I have connection with Hecate? Yes. I love her to death. A lot of time you get the status of sons and daughters. And when you hit the status of being Hecate's son or daughter, it puts you up there above the 50% zone. You start feeling like she's not your physical mother, because that's a middle world thing. But she's like your spiritual guide and takes care of you like a mother would take care of a child. And she gives you back what you give her. If you give her a prayer once a year, she's going to give you back a dog bark once a year or some minor signs, and that's it. And if you devote yourself mostly to another god or a goddess, say you devote yourself mostly to the god of Abraham or Zeus or whatever, even Inanna, who, well, I won't go into Inanna because we have some excitement. But if you devote yourself to another god or goddess, we only have so much faith, so much spirit, so much whatever that you can devote. And she'll treat you the same. You give 50% to Freya and 50% to Hecate, she's going to give you 50%. Now, sometimes if you devote, most people don't devote 50% and 50%. They usually devote 50% into spiritual stuff and 50% into whatever the heck they're doing. And so, yeah, you're only really getting 25% and 25% if you're devoting, only half of what you have left to devote to your spiritual path. So it kind of is an interesting feel. Now, is Hecate going to ask you for 100%? No. Because she's a middle world goddess. She takes care of us in a middle world. She loves balance and take care of us in all of the aspects. She's going to take care of you after, if you have enough faith and devotion with her, after even the middle world is over. She'll take care of you. Sometimes some of us will get different aspects. Some of you will be taken care of in the heavens, and that's, I don't know where that is. I know for sure I have a space in the underworld with her in the liminal realm. Yes, I have a space there. And part of my working with Hecate is I have a space in Hades city in the underworld, because she works down there. She does things. Me and Persephone's had a lot of conversation and some fights too, but we've had a lot of love shared between each other. But I have my main devotion is with Hecate. I don't really devote myself to Hades or Persephone or Artemis or Freya or any of the other gods and goddesses that actually came to me and petitioned me myself, which I thought was quite odd, but they did, through signs and things, and I devoted to Hecate. And what I'm talking about for Hecate is the same, not similar. If you choose another god or goddess to be your devotee, and Hecate's not going to, they talk about Hecate's jealous, she'll do things. She's jealous out of control, teaching a lesson. She doesn't maliciously just get pissed off at you and hurt you for no reason whatsoever just because she got pissed at you. That's not quite how she does it. What she will do, though, is controlled say, I need to show you the emotion. I'm pissed off at you to get you in the right path. And yeah, take it as a lesson. Take it as a learning. That's how I had to take it when, yeah, she showed me that side of her a couple times. And it had to do with other things. It was wavering stuff she knew was good for me. And so we continued on. Kind of rambling here. I'm trying to think of any other ways of devotation or ways to connect with Hecate. Um, I mean, just going out into nature and stuff, that's kind of connecting with her via the world soul. Um, Creation, you can connect to her via creation, but that's kind of working with her through her aspects of coming into you. So I think this is where we're going to call it here, and I'm going to go back and try to edit this thing. How I'm going to do it, I don't know. But it's a rambling mess, and I'll try to put something together and put it up there so people can understand